Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a video about the brand new Samsung Galaxy Fold. And this, in my opinion, was the most important part of Samsung's press event today. Yes, they introduced brand new flagship S10 devices as well as a brand new sport wearable and earbuds, but the Fold may very well be the future of smartphones, as bizarre as that sounds. And yes, I'm not in love with the name, but I am kind of in love with the design for the most part, and I'll get to that. But first and foremost, we are on Samsung's website. This is going to launch on April 26th at a retail of a little under $2,000 US. You heard correctly, $2,000. It will be available with all your favorite carriers. A 5G as well as LTE variant will launch. And essentially, I'm going to start off by showing you the video. I'm going to do my own little overlay of what you're actually looking at so that you know. So Samsung starts off their video promo for this device by showing you the spine that connects the two halves of this device. It has been tested and supposedly can be opened up to 1,000 or more times without issue. 3 of the 6 cameras right there on the back of the device. One being 16 megapixels, the other 2 being 12, of course 4K UHD video capture. There is the front of the phone, which has a 4.6-inch HD Plus Super AMOLED display, your volume rocker, power button all right there. And then, of course, it opens up to the 7.3-inch flexible Super AMOLED display. Now, you heard correctly. There's another camera on the front of this phone, 2 on the inside when you open it up at the upper right corner there. So that's 6 in total. There again, you're seeing the selfie camera on the front, the 2 that are inside, and then the 3 that are on the back. This has all of the best internal guts that Samsung could possibly offer. In fact, they are the literal best of breed right now that can be offered in the flagship S10 Plus. So you're getting, of course, a Snapdragon 855 complemented by 12 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of onboard storage, and then these 2 displays. Now, the beauty of this 7.3-inch foldable design is that there is no bezel, folks. So previous devices that promised multiple displays, they were always separate displays. This is completely seamless, and that's because this Super AMOLED display, unlike previous generations, is half the thickness of what we would traditionally find in something like the brand new S10 or S10 Plus. So that is how they've accomplished the actual design. Now, in terms of specifications, for those of you that are wondering, and I'll explain why I think this is the future. It's not just because it's a tablet and a phone in one package, because don't get me wrong, the front end of this thing is not pretty with those bezels and that shrunken display. But it only has a 4,380 milliamp hour battery. And because this is not just a proof of concept, but an actual device coming to market, I think they have to, engineer it, re-engineer it, and we will eventually get an aesthetically beautiful device. Now, Samsung is marketing this as a luxury device, and they should be. I mean, it's $2,000. It has to be a luxury device. But in terms of specs, that 7.3-inch display that it folds out, that, again, is actually a completely foldable display. We've never had anything like this. Resolution, we're looking at 1536 by 2152. I already mentioned all of the other internals in terms of your CPU and release date and pricing, but what I didn't get to are more technical things. So the aspect ratio on the tablet screen that you're looking at is 16 by 10, 414 ppi density. The front display I already mentioned, 4.6 inches, that's only HD plus, 21 by 9 aspect ratio. Now, I have a feeling that this is how they were able to balance the battery. Now, keep in mind, the phone only sees one battery, but part of their engineering was to put a battery in each side. So you now have 2 batteries to worry about rather than 1, but if this is the cost of making something incredibly innovative, I'm totally down. The GPU is the Adreno 640. Of course, I've mentioned you have 6 cameras here. No other phone from Samsung has 6, and there's a reason. This truthfully needs 6 in order to accommodate every functional form factor that it can be used in. The selfie camera, you've got a 10 megapixel and an 8 megapixel camera there. That is capable of 1080p at 30 frames per second. You also have Dolby Atmos sound. I imagine that the audio performance from this is going to be best in class. Bluetooth 5.0. You do have Samsung's wireless quick charge that also can now share, just like on all of the brand new S10 devices, well, almost all of them. And of course, 3.1 Type-C charging capability and connectivity, critical, that's the standard. But again, what makes this such a compelling device is that I do think this is the future of large form factor smartphones. And I say that because, remember, Samsung is responsible for the screen size you likely are watching this on right now, or you own in terms of your daily driver, your smartphone. And that's because it all started with the Note, folks. Back in the end of 2011, 2012, the first CES that I ever attended, that was when the Note launched. And I was one of the skeptics, no question about it. I did not think people were going to line up for a 5.3-inch display. I was wrong. As we all know, the sky has become the limit for screen size. Even Apple has jumped on board. But part of the problem with making screens larger and larger, and this, by the way, gets to the heart of what I think is a bit of a foolish comment when people say, I'm not going to pay $1,000 more to get one more inch of screen real estate, is that you aren't just getting one more inch of screen real estate. With something like the Note 9 that is my daily driver right now, yes, it's got a 6+ inch display. In fact, many phones do. Apple phones do. But they all just keep getting longer, folks, and that's because they can't fit in our hand any other way. And the one-handed usability kind of goes out the window. So what I see here with the Samsung Galaxy Fold is that they've thought about pocketability and palmability. So being able to use it with one hand and also being able to practically fit it in your pocket, because I can tell you right now, in all of my pants and shorts, jackets, the Note 9 is friggin' huge. It's so long, there are shorts and pants I can't wear without worrying that it could fall out. I know I'm not alone on this. I'm hoping the Galaxy Fold addresses exactly this, and I think that is the point here. It's not just that you can have a tablet and a phone in one, although it does give you that capability. I believe it's ultimately about the ability to continue to make screens larger on smartphones without giving up the fact that they can still be used as phones. And that's exactly what the Galaxy Fold appears to deliver. Now, is the price right for everyone? Absolutely not. Is the design right for everyone? Also absolutely not. But I can assure you, both of those were true of the first Samsung Galaxy Note. And even though that wasn't 10 years ago, and Samsung is marketing that it was 10 years ago that they introduced the first Galaxy phone, I can assure you that this makes perfect sense. If you want to evolve the brand, if you want to be able to make phones larger, this is the way you're going to be able to do it. And Samsung has flexible displays that are ready for prime time. And even though you may not be in love with the bezel, don't be shocked if in 3 years your daily driver is built around a Fold. Because if things continue to trend the way they have and screens keep getting bigger, it's time to make a phone that can fit in your palm and in your pocket. And I believe this is the innovation that truly comes out of this device, not just having a tablet and a phone. I mean, granted, that's a great thing, but that isn't going to be worth it to everyone at this price point, because that is what makes it a luxury device. I think now it's a luxury device, but in the future, this may be what most smartphones look like as those screens become unmanageable in a candy bar form factor. These are just my thoughts, just my input, but as I said at the top of the video, I may be folding for the Galaxy Fold, because even though I did not think there was something that could pry the Note 9 out of my hand, this may very well be the device. Of course, I think Samsung's also going to introduce a Galaxy Fold Note, or hopefully they'll change the name. That may not be till next gen. I think they're going to first have to see how this thing sells. I do expect if it flops, a great bargain on it, but because it's all one display, they don't have to worry about the scaling issues or adapting to a specific screen abnormality that Android isn't ready for. And Google has partnered directly with them for this, because I think Google sees exactly what I'm pointing out, which is that as those screen sizes get larger, there's only one way to make it fit in your pocket, and that's making it fold. And yes, it is going to be a little bit thicker, but I think it's very close to what you currently would find with something like the Note 9 because of the screen being so thin. So even though there are two separate batteries to worry about, this looks to be the future of smartphone, folks, in my opinion. If I'm wrong, history will tell the tale, won't it? We will be able to see. But I was wrong about the Note, and now the Note has set the standard for screen size on every device, including Apple's stable. And when Apple even succumbs, after all, Steve Jobs was the king of, we'll never go bigger on screen real estate. It's not meant to be used by human fingers. We know where things are today. Anything under 5 inches, you kind of scratch your head. Anything under 5.5 inches, you may even get looks. And yes, in a world where we've gone bezel-less, especially Samsung with the S10 and S10 Plus, this would be the only way we would accept a bezel, is if you could really offer a completely different experience without offering a completely different payload. You know, the form factor really hasn't changed that much. It's just design cues that have, and that could only be made possible by a true foldable display, which we finally have, and it's a Super AMOLED. How could you be upset about that? Anyway, that wraps up my thoughts on the Galaxy Fold. I'm looking forward to when a Note version comes out. Will I buy one? It's very tempting, folks. I hope I don't, but I have a feeling I may, because I think this is going to fix some of the gripes I have with phones just continuously getting longer in order to have a spec sheet that shows a larger screen size. So again, for those of you thinking it's only an inch larger, food for thought. It's not only an inch larger. You're actually getting a proper tablet now with that 7.3 inches rather than just an elongated phone like a bridge to nowhere. At any rate, that's not a knock against the Note 9. I think it's just Samsung knowing this is where things had to go. So welcome to the future, folks. I believe it's going to look a lot like this and just get, more refined, more polished, and more improved. But this is a very good starting point as long as that battery can get us through the day. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Of course, let me know what you think of this. Do you agree with me, disagree with me? I expect a lot of people will disagree with me. But again, we'll find out as time passes. I already mentioned, hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe. Later.